What's up, everybody? It's been a very long time since I've streamed consistently on Twitch. I will try to be more consistent. I have a new series that I plan to want to do. It's DJ Lessons 101, and today I am going to do a lesson on transitions. Now, it's pretty late over here. It's 12 o'clock in the morning, so that's why I'm kind of talking a little low. So turn up your headphones if you need to hear what I'm saying or if you need to hear the music. So, what are transitions in DJing? Basically, transitions are when you switch from one song to the next. And when you do that, you're mixing the two songs. So a transition is going from one song to the next when both songs are mixing together and you're using techniques such as EQing, blending, phrasing to make the transition as seamless as possible. For me, my style is I really like to be super clean, quote unquote, with my transitions that you can't tell that you're going into the next song. That's how I learned when I used to play vinyl 20 years ago or so, or started 20 years ago, 21 years ago. I started DJing when I turned 21. So when I turned 21, I was able to buy two turntables from my mentors that I learned DJing from, and bought myself some records, mixer, headphones, and back then CDs and MP3s weren't really widely used. CDs were mainly used by wedding DJs, and so everybody played vinyl back then. And if you don't know what vinyl is this right here. And usually these records, vinyl records, would have one or two songs, if you're lucky, three songs on each side. And this one's kind of trashed, but if you could see here, you could see the grooves. Those are basically your waveforms, and with records, you primarily beat matched by ear. You didn't have the waveforms on the software like what you're seeing on Engine DJ, which allows you to see the kick drums and the beats lined up. Maybe I'll do a stream on mixing on vinyl someday. It seems like a popular topic from what I noticed on Instagram and YouTube and all that. So what you're looking at on my screen is Engine DJ. Most DJs use either Rekordbox DJ software gear such as Pioneer gear. Denon has its own, which is Engine DJ. There's also Serato DJ. There's Native Instruments Traktor. I bought a mini controller specifically for these tutorials, but it hasn't come in yet. So for now, I'm just going to use Engine DJ because it's really easy to follow along with the way the interface is. So you can see my mouse here. There's a crossfader, which is really cool because then you can practice transitioning between two songs. What's really cool is you have your BPM right here. It tells you how fast the song is, beats per minute. That is the key of your song. I don't really pay attention to that, and Engine DJ has a feature where it matches it anyways. So what we're looking at are the waveforms of each song. So for this song, Don't Stop Go, on the top and on the bottom, Neck and Back. These are two tech house tracks, I believe. And let's go ahead and rewind that to the beginning. So we're also going to put sync on both sides because right now I can't really show you how to beat match without a controller. So we're just going to do the easy way. So when you look at the structure of a song, if you look closely, you can see it's almost got a sort of constant shape to it, like a formula. House music and a lot of dance music is very, very formulaic, meaning that they all follow a similar structure. So, as you could see here, if we play this song, from here to here, it's all gonna be kick drums and hi-hats. So let's let it play. Right when it comes here, it's going to have an added sound. So as you can hear right there, it gets louder. So let's rewind back to the beginning. So as you can hear, it starts off really low and it gets louder. It adds instruments, it has a louder kick drum. And so if you noticed, if you look here and then you look here, it's almost like it's the same exact length, right? So let's rewind again. And with DJing, you have what's called doing counts. So you're basically counting the number of phrases and beats in your head. So it goes like 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4. If you were ever in band or you learned how to read music, that should be really easy for you to already know how to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to count along with my fingers to each kick drum. Alright, so that was 32 beats. So now, if we go here, if we count 32 beats again, it'll get to this point right here, and just listen to how it changes. So as you noticed, every 32 beats, a new sound is introduced into the song. And if you know that, it makes it really easy to do transitions. So basically, every 32 beats, a new sound comes in. So even if you were to look at the breakdown right here, if you count 32 beats, it should go straight into the drop. Sometimes it doesn't. People structure it different when they produce, but let's go ahead and try it. And you know what's funny is when you watch DJs mix live and all that, and you watch them, it seems like magic. It's like, wow, how do they know that the drop's coming in? And obviously you could just look at the waveforms, but you can also do the counts in your head. So now that you know that there's for this, it's every 32 counts, we're going to look at the second song on the bottom on channel 2. So if we go all the way Actually, let's do channel 1 first. So we'll stay on the same song. So if we were to go all the way to the end, right there. And what's handy is you can also see every 4 counts. You can see it right there. But let's go to the last 32, and then we'll count again. And it's finished. So now that you know that for this particular song, the last 32 counts, and then there's 32 counts here. If you go from here to here, 32, 64. I don't know my math offhand right now, but another 32. You can apply that in reverse. So if we look here, let's go ahead, we'll start with 64. So we'll go to the last 64 counts of the second song. And I'll explain where we're going with this in a second. So let's go ahead and count and make sure that it's 64 beats. All right, perfect. So this is going to be a really simple mix. So if we were to go ahead and put a hot cue right there just to mark it. And you could do this when you're putting sets together. Really helps, but I mean when you do it long enough, you get so good at it that you don't really need to add markers. Some DJs do. I like to do it for when I do certain tricks for my transitions, and I'll cover that in a future video. Alright, so we're going to mix the first song into the second song. So the second song is going to play, and then we're gonna mix into the next song, which is the first song. So the second song, or channel 2, when I say second, it's on the second channel. So the first song is Neck and Back, and we're gonna mix into Don't Stop Go. And we're gonna see if the transition mixes up perfectly. One thing I forgot to mention is, what's really cool about a lot of dance songs is at the end of the song, they always add some kind of effect, and that makes transitioning into another song a lot easier. A lot of people can also use the filter effect or echo, or they'll do a lot more advanced techniques. Let me go ahead and play this for you. And that just kind of adds an extra bit of oomph to your transition when you're switching over to the next song. But we'll go ahead and listen to it and see what it actually sounds like when I do it. Okay, so let's go ahead and set this up. We'll start here, and I have it on sync. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transition again from Neck and Back into Don't Stop Go. So let's go see how it sounds. There, the beat matched. really cool, right? So right when this second song ended, it went into the first song and it went to that really basic part. But I think that we can actually do a better job at this. So what we're gonna do is, instead of 32 counts, let's go ahead and do a longer transition. Now with 32 counts, it's kind of a fast transition. Usually, for me personally, I like to do a lot more longer blends and longer transitions. It just sounds better because you can gradually build up to it, as opposed to just throwing in the song right away, because you only have 32 beats to transition out. So let's go ahead and see. I just want to make sure that the first drop is right there. Okay, so that's about, looking at it, that's about 3264. Okay, so I'm just gonna eyeball it here. So if you look at right here, that's about the same length. So let's go ahead and add another hot cue. That'll be the second point of transition. So instead of just transitioning or ending like right there on the first song, we're gonna actually go into the drop. So let's go and see how it sounds. Let me just pull this back a little. All right, let's see how it sounds. So we're gonna let it ride out. Let it play out. Sounds good so far. That was pretty super clean. So after this one ended, this one went straight into the breakdown, and there's different ways to approach this. You can do loops, you can do a lot of advanced things where you loop one section and then let the other song play, and I'll demonstrate that once I get my DJ controller. This is pretty simple stuff right now. One thing I did want to note is that when you listen to a song, try to always count in your head each time you hear a new sound added or something is subtracted. So with intros, which is this part, a new sound is always added. Drops, the middle parts. Sometimes things are added, sometimes things are taken out. But on outros, usually it's the reverse of an intro. So if we listen to the intro, See, so for this section, the kick drum was taken out because it's kind of a mini breakdown and a vocal is added. So producers like to do that to add variety to their song, and once you learn how to recognize that, it's a lot easier to be able to do transitions because you know where to add your intros and where to mix out in your outros. And so if we listen to the outro of here, you're gonna hear that sounds are taken out every 32, 64 beats, etc. So let's go ahead and listen. Nothing was taken out yet from there. Nothing was taken out from there either, from what I could hear. So it's not always going to be the same structure-wise. But if you look at the waveform, you can see that it's going to get subtracted here. So if you look at the waveforms on the top here, you can actually see the higher the waveform, the more sounds there are. So that's why if you look over here, and you can kind of see it here too, but it's more prevalent if you look at the top waveforms. You can see that there's no bass or anything like that. Synth melody, synth breakdown. So looking at the waveforms in there, you can actually kind of tell where everything is, where you're at. What's really cool about records is we did the same thing looking at the record. Back in the day, you know, when you're in a dark nightclub or a rave, it's really hard to see the waveforms. So if you could see there, it has the same kind of the grooves are basically like the waveforms. So you could kind of see here is the intro, that's the breakdown where it's thick. It's kind of hard to see on here, but if you have your own record, you can actually check for yourself. And what's cool is the more complicated the genre, the more intricate the grooves on a record are. So if you look at this breaks record, you could see that it's kind of a little zigzaggy all over the place. Kind of cool. So that is DJ Transitions 101 for really easy transitions, which is intro and outro mixing. Now you can still apply this to other parts of the song, so you don't have to necessarily wait for the outro to mix out. So what you could actually do is on your first song, if you wanted to, you could totally mix into this breakdown right here. Is this a breakdown? Let's check. Yeah, it's not a kind of a breakdown, I guess. I mean, this part here is like the main breakdown, and this is the other breakdown. I've never been good with these newer DJ terms, so forgive me if I'm getting some of these words wrong. So this would be, I think this is the first breakdown right here. So you could actually start mixing the intro of this song right at this part right here. So let's go ahead and try that real fast before I log out. If it doesn't work, then we'll try it again in the next stream. So I'm gonna go ahead and go back a little bit. Okay. So this is a long transition. So that was actually off time, but it worked. You know, sometimes you make these mistakes where you throw the song on at the wrong time, but you learn how to cover for it. So let's go ahead and try one more time because I was not happy with that. Let's see. Oops. Another important thing about DJing, make sure, well, a lot of DJs don't even use the crossfader, but you want to make sure that when you're transitioning between songs and stuff that you always have the incoming songs channel down so people don't hear you trying to beat match it or such. You just want to make sure you always keep an eye on your channels and your EQs and effects and all that. You know, I've been doing this for 21 years and I still make mistakes like that. So let's go ahead and try that transition again.
First you gotta put your neck into it. Don't stop, just do it, do it. Then you roll your tongue from the crack back to the front. Then you suck it all till I shake and come, nigga. Make sure I keep busting nuts, nigga. All over your face and good. So then show me so much love. The best head comes from above. The dick could get big and long. So fuck it to the crack of dawn. On the egg, the bits and stuff. Through the night, make it from above. The dick could get big and long. So fuck it to the crack of dawn. On the egg, the bits and stuff.
See, that was a good transition because you're transitioning the energy flow of the first song directly into the next one. And that's another thing I want to talk about is energy flow with your transitions and with the music you play in general. Before I sign off, I just want to explain my philosophy when it comes to DJing. Is I am a very journey-based style of a DJ, which means that I like to tell a story with my sets. And that doesn't necessarily mean I'm gonna pick a whole bunch of songs that tell a story. I do it more through the energy and the emotions of the songs. And it's really important to me to do that because I try to connect with the dance floor on that level. I want to be at the same energy level as them. So I want to make sure that what I'm feeling, they're feeling, and vice versa. So if they're not feeling my music, I want to make sure I give them the best journey by adapting. Now, for me, I like to play on the fly for the most part. My style, I usually just pick the first song and the last song, and I kind of just wing it in between. It's not really a style that most EDM DJs do nowadays. A lot of them tends to, put together a set because they want to make sure their set is perfect, which is cool. It's not my style. I don't fault them for that. But the way I teach my style in these streams, I will be teaching you how to be able to play on the fly eventually. But for now, we're just going to focus on transitions. Maybe the next stream I'll focus on will be picking songs that complement each other. And what I mean by that is you want to pick songs, for me, in my style, sounds that work together. Not just with the key or anything like that, but maybe even vocals. And some DJs call that wordplay, but it's not always wordplay, because wordplay tends to be where you have two songs that have similar words and you kind of just play with both songs. Yeah, I do like to work a lot with vocals. So, words like songs that have vocals that will work with each other. So one song might have a person humming, and then the other song might have a person rapping over it, so that the rapping and the humming kind of actually go along together. Tech house is really cool for that. Funky house, jackin' house, um, some trance. But yeah, so the next stream I'll do that. I'll work. I'll demonstrate how to do transitions with different types of vocals and acapellas and such. But thank you for tuning in. This was my first stream in a long time, as I mentioned earlier. So forgive me if I'm a little rusty. But I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope that what I explained, I'm not the best person when it comes to explaining things, so hopefully my method was you were somewhat able to understand it. I'm gonna upload this on my YouTube, so if you go to youtube.com/DJ Tide, you'll be able to find the video on there, and it'll also be on my Twitch stream, my Twitch channel, till whenever it gets deleted. So in the meantime, it's 12:36 and I must go to sleep. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good night. Peace.